Welcome to the Fantasy Football Hub YouTube channel. Today I'm joined by FPL Salah to preview Game Week 5. Before we get into that, first of all, Abdul, it's in the title and the thumbnail, and I actually haven't told you this off screen that the title's going to be this, but it's going to be something along the lines of worst ever start to an FPL season, if that's okay with you. Because I think I saw you say that it's been your worst start, right?
It's factual. It has been a worst ever start in like 18 years of playing.
Wow.
Um, yeah, so it's kind of I'd say uncharted territory, so to speak. But you know what? I've had bad starts before, and I've recovered, and I've had good starts, and I've kind of fallen off. So
Yeah.
I don't know. Let's see. The points are still quite kind of bunched together. If I'm at game week 10 and I'm still around about in the millions, I'd be worried. But I think it's a wee bit early to start worrying just now.
That's a very good point. It's worth reminding the viewers if they are new to the channel, just let them know if they've not seen a video before, just your rank history over the past 18 years, just what sort of ranks you've got before.
All right, you're gonna embarrass me like that,
Well,
yeah?
I mean, it's worth saying because at the start of the season, sometimes people don't do really well at the start of the
Mm,
year, especially this year. To be fair, I mean, I feel like I've had an okay start, but I'm at like 1.8 million. It's not ideal, and it's worth mentioning as well that I have 269 points. You have 242 points, so 27 points is a difference of 2.5 million.
yeah,
It's
yeah. See,
quite considerable.
yeah, and that's the kind of the main factor here. Like it's they're so bunched together. I mean, one is like basically one good game week. One big haul can just like kind of turn the season around really at the moment.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, in terms of like previous finishes, I've had four top 1Ks and six top 10Ks.
It's not bad, is it? Not
It's
bad.
just, yeah, I mean, I'd say over 18 seasons, I'm quite proud of, like, quite happy with that. Last season, like the late season, I got 48K, which about 5, 6 seasons ago, I wouldn't have been happy with. But I think with the landscape as it is now, with like, so many kind of, I'd say engaged managers and, so much information out there, I think a top 50K nowadays is really good.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I think to get top 10k this in the modern FPL era, you do have to get quite a lot of luck. Whereas I think in the
Oh, yeah,
past you wouldn't have had to do that.
sure.
A good player would consistently, well, a lot of the time get in the top 10k maybe 5 to 10 years ago. These days, a lot more information, videos like this, websites like Fantasy Football
Mhm.
Hub. It's definitely a lot harder to get there. Just more people are better at the game. Simple as that.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's talk about your team then, and especially the transfers you made last week because you did end up doing 3 transfers.
I did, and it couldn't have. I mean, I guess it could have gone worse. Actually, I was going to say it couldn't have gone any worse, but I bought in. So I took out Saka, Isaac, and Nkunku for Salah, Minte, and Pedro. And like the moves were like for me, they're like perfect on paper. I loved the moves, and I thought I was quite kind of optimistic about them. But then obviously, João Pedro missed out. Didn't hear about his injury, pre in the press conferences or anything. I think he was the most transferred in player as well. And I know people actually got rid of him. Sorry, people actually bought him in like on the Friday night as well. So I mean,
Yeah,
just the kind of coming back from international break late, people were still confident he was going to start. So of course he didn't start. And then Minty blanked at home to Ipswich, and Salah blanked at home to West Ham. Sorry, to Nottingham Forest. And then Saka got an assist, and Isaac. I think I got really lucky with Isaac coming off at half time with an injury. But I'd say I got unlucky with kind of João Pedro there as well. So the moves didn't work out the best. I mean, it was quite annoying because the opportunity was there. With the two away fixtures for
yeah.
Saka and Isaac, and they did kind of. I would have been happy with just a Saka and assist. I was fine with that. And then, Isaac blanked, and then, I had the opportunity there. But still this week as well. But I think this last week was the week because I think this week everyone's going to bring in Salah.
Mm.
And so I think the kind of the edge has gone a bit there with him. But I'm still hoping he does well.
It's one of those, isn't it? You can't like. Obviously, it's disappointing, but I was similar to you. I really liked my moves, and if I told you that Salah, at home to Nottingham Forest, and then the double up of João Pedro and Minter with their unbelievable fixture as well would score you 4 points, or I
Yeah,
guess 5 points because you got Harwood Bellis off the bench. But I
yeah,
mean, you would say that is, what are the chances of that happening? It's
Yeah,
unlucky.
yeah, it was, and yeah, it's just one of those where, like we say all the time, I think for me that was a good decision, just not a good outcome.
Yeah. So tell the viewers, how are you going to react from to this? Obviously, not the best start, but are you going to rip up rip up the rule book? Are you going to change the way you play, or will you just play exactly the same as you've played and had success before?
Yeah, no, I'm just gonna play the same. I've had a bad game week. I had Haaland captain, which obviously kind of saved me from having an absolute disaster. But I was really happy with my team last week, and I'm really happy with the team this week, and I'm planning on saving the transfer.
Okay.
Um, so because I am hoping to get to game week 6 when I wildcard without using any transfers, and wildcard in game week 6 and have 2 or 3 transfers going to game week 7. But obviously that kind of depends a lot on João Pedro. We don't know if he's going to be fit. I mean, at the time of recording, it's 4 o'clock on Wednesday, and Brighton play later today, so we should get like
Oh
another
yeah.
update there. But as things stands, we don't know if he is going to play or not. But if he's out, then I'm going to be forced into making a transfer. If I get maybe 1 or 2 other injuries, then I might just be forcing early wild card as well. But if all goes well, I'm just thinking of saving. If you can see my team on the My Team tool, it looks like another great week. I've got a lot of home fixtures. Got all my defenders have got home fixtures. Salah home to Bournemouth, best captaincy option, and Minty home to Nottingham Forest. Eze, Rogers at home. Really great. But I guess Haaland is only one with a tough fixture, but he's Haaland, so it doesn't matter much.
Yeah, it's true. Um, yeah, let's talk about potential replacements for João Pedro. Obviously, we're
Yeah.
not going to be able to say whether or not he's out at this point, but
Mhm.
if we do find out that he is going to miss that game, who are you thinking? It would be a punt, then I assume, for World Cup 6 preparation.
Yeah, I mean, there's a few options in my head, right? So
Sorry, not a punt. I mean, as in like a 1 week. Doesn't necessarily need to be a punt, but a 1 week transfer. You'd be doing it just for this game week.
it would be, but I think the two players I'm looking at, or I'm looking at three, 2 to 3 players I'm looking at are good kind of long-term picks as well,
All right. Okay.
I'd say. So, first of all, is Jamie Vardy, right? Who I think has, really kind of surprised me this season. I thought he's 37 years old. There's no way he's going to be, getting first team football, but he has been, and he's been playing well. He's been getting great chances, scored 2 goals, and they've got Everton at home next. And then they've got Arsenal in game week 6, which is obviously a tough game. But then from there on in, they've got great fixtures. They've got Bournemouth, Southampton, Forest, and Ipswich. So he's a great option not only for this week but going forward. Second option I'm looking at is Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Again, not one I was expecting to be bringing in
No.
game week 5, but he has been looking good. Look, see, I think it was the 2021 season and 2021 and 1920 where he got 13 goals and 16 goals for the season, right? That's when he was fit, and when he's fit and firing, he's actually a really good fantasy option. Last few seasons, he has been kind of played with injuries. He's not played a full season since that season he got 16 goals in 2021. So he does, for me, he's played the first 4 games. He is getting a lot of minutes now. He does, look fit, and he's been playing. I've been watching a few Everton games, and he's been getting the chances. I mean, he misses a lot of easy chances as well. I've noticed, like big XG chances, like
Mhm.
the last game where he could have took the keeper on, but just kind of dwindled on the ball too long.
Yeah.
But he's getting the chances, and I like him. Everton's fixtures, like over the long term, are fantastic. I know they've been terrible. I know they're not the most prolific team, but he is their talisman. He's on penalties, and if he's fit, he's going to play, plenty of minutes. So those are 2 options that I'm kind of looking at, and even if I wasn't on the wild card 6, I'd still be looking at them.
Okay. Did you say there was a third option as well?
I did, yeah, and this one is like a kind of out there, and I think this one is I'd go for only if Watkins was out, and that's
Ah,
John Duran.
nice. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's just such a wild player. Like I've been watching him like this season, and I just love the guy. He just like one of those players that he just
Yeah.
takes anything on. Like that. Who was that Villa played last week with Everton when he scored that kind of 30 yard.
Unbelievable goal. Yeah.
Yeah, he just and his kind of goals to minute ratio is fantastic. And if he ends up getting a start next week against Wolves at home, I
Oof.
mean, and Watkins is out, I mean. that's a massive differential and a huge upside in that.
That would be my
Um,
pick out of them three. That's fun. That'd be great. Yeah,
exactly.
I've
But
seen you tweet about him as well this week. Guys, as always, our Twitters are on screen throughout the duration of the video. But yeah, I saw Abdul tweet about yeah how much fun he is as a player.
yeah, and he is, and he's one of those where it's like, he's one of those guys who can just like get a monster haul.
Mm,
Like, and he's proved it as well. He's came off the bench so many times and got goals. He's got a brace. And so if he's getting like a full game, then he could be a fantastic option. Wales at home. Wales have been really poor this season, but like I don't know. I mean, Emery was quite kind of I guess optimistic about Watkins after he said it was. I think he kind of preluded to the fact that it was a pre-planned substitution, but at the end of the day, Watkins was sitting there with ice pack on his
yeah,
ankle, so you never know.
yeah, very interesting. Okay, three good fun options there, I'd say. Couple of more throwback options, but then in Duran, definitely a player for the future. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'd really like Watkins to be out, confirmed out, and then just see you go for him
yeah,
and him just. He is the sort of player. I think unlike the other two, he is the sort of player that could just get a hat trick. I
yeah,
know it feels like that he has that sort of ceiling. I mean, we've seen it
definitely.
before with the other two, obviously doing well in the history of FPL, but Duran is definitely the wild card pick out of those three. Okay, so that is what you're thinking for your team. But let's have a look now at what the AI is recommending for your side. What I'll do is I'll plug in the fact that you are going to wildcard in Game Week 6. And
Mhm.
then let's see. You've got one free transfer. Let's see if it first of all recommends doing something in the first place. Obviously, a lot depends on João Pedro, but then who it recommends. Okay, Abdul, here is your transfer, your recommendation on screen. Guys, as always, if you would like your own personalized AI recommended transfer for your team, you get this every single week. And I've put in here on chip strategy that Abdul is going to be wildcarding in Game Week 6. So that is affecting what comes up here. Then sign up to Fantasy Football Hub. Link down below. Still 50% off. Still a week free trial as well. This is the time where you need to be seeing. You don't have to use it, but you need to be seeing what the data is saying. This is actually a transfer that Abdul hasn't actually suggested. But I think it's important
What is it?
to give the to have them the sort of knowledge in mind that we're not sure about João Pedro's minutes right now, so that will
Mhm.
change things. But
Yeah.
Armstrong is actually the recommendation to be sold, and Chris Wood is the player that's coming in. Now, Wood has had a really, really good start to the season, and I think based on that, the data and the just his output so far, I think that's why he's doing better on predicted points than the names you've mentioned. But he's predicted to score 5.4 points in Game Week 5, which is higher than Calvert-Lewin, Vardy, and obviously Duran at this point. So what do you think about that move?
I think Wood's a better option than Vardy and DCL, but I just think the fixture this week is not the best. I mean, I don't know. Maybe the AI tool's looking at, I guess, his minutes, which probably be kind of more robust than the other two. But he is a great option. But I don't know. I'd feel uncomfortable bringing in Chris Wood when he's got Brighton away.
Yeah.
Brighton have looked pretty good defensively, to be honest.
I think the thing with this is that the AI is suggesting here you go for a player that has been very, very strong this season in terms of the underlying
Mhm.
numbers, or at least output. Um, out of those teams, there's no doubt that Forest are the best team right now,
Yeah.
compared to Leicester and Everton. And yeah, Brighton, that they are a good defense. But maybe this is one of those where you look at it and you think, okay, actually, no, I'm going to go against predicted points this week, and go more for where you think there's upside.
Yeah.
Um,
And I think that's a good thing about the models. It gives you like something to think about. Like, why is it picking wood?
yeah,
Uh,
I mean, this is such a model pick. I don't think any
yeah.
human would go for this. Let's make that abundantly clear. I mean, I
Mm.
wouldn't recommend going for Wood, but would I be shocked if Wood got more points than Vardy and Calvert
Yeah.
Lewin? No, I think his
Not at
his
all.
floor is definitely higher than those two. It's just whether the ceiling is.
Yeah. Yeah, I just think with Wood, I mean, look, I think he is the better option, kind of in isolation in the two. But I just think with the fixture this week, the immediate fixture is better for the other two. So I just don't feel comfortable bringing in a player who's got Brighton away. When Brighton have been, good defensively, and I'll be wildcarding in game week 6. So I do want my pick to have obviously the best kind of fixture this week. Not to say I'm not ruling Wood out my wild card in game week 6. It's just that for this fixture, I think the other two guys have got probably more expected goals in that fixture. And I actually do think the Leicester and Everton game is going to be like, I think it's got more chance of being a high scoring game than a
Yeah.
low scoring one. I think it's probably expected to score more goals in that game than this one. I'd say with Brighton, so Brighton Forest. 'Cause I think both of them are actually really good defenses.
Yeah. That's a good point.
Forest have been solid at the back, not only just because they kept Liverpool out last week. If you look at their defensive numbers last season, they were fourth best for XGC, and I think this season for Liverpool they were third best for expected goals conceded so far this season. So they've got a good defense.
Wow. Yeah. I didn't really think about that, but I think yeah, game state in those games is a massive thing.
Hmm.
Um, then the Brighton Forest game could easily be pretty low scoring late on into the game. Whereas, yeah, I feel like Everton Leicester, both teams are probably going to think more that they're going to need to outscore the opposition to win it.
Yeah, and I think in that game, both like teams are going to think we need to win this game. This is a
Yeah,
winnable game because they're kind of both on the kind of same level.
yeah. Interesting. Very interesting. Okay, so Abdul's thinking to probably go against the AI here, but food for thought nonetheless. Let's round this video off with captaincy. You said to me off screen at the start of the season, this decision, Haaland or Salah this week
Yeah.
would not even be a decision. It would just be an easy Salah pick. Let's be completely honest. A much better fixture against, a weaker team at home that isn't too defensively sound, or at least wasn't for large parts last season, compared to the best defense in the league in Arsenal. But just based on the season as a whole so far, I mean, I don't want to talk too much about just last week, but that has to have some sort of influence here. Is it more of a decision now than you thought it might have been?
Yeah, because I think the issue is that like Haaland has got off to like an absolute flyer, right? And Arsenal, that I guess you could say that they are missing Odegaard, which is obviously going to be, it's going to weaken them a little bit, kind of, you'd probably say, as an overall team. I still think Salah is the better captain option, so, and I will be going for Salah, but like Man City are at home, Haaland's in like, like scintillating form. So I mean, I don't think it's like a no-brainer to go Salah.
Yeah,
I think there will be people out there who captain Haaland, and I'd say like his effective ownership. I wouldn't be surprised if it's over 100%
yeah,
for Game Week 5. But one thing I found interesting was if you look at there's a Twitter account Rob T FPL. He does like the projected goals, and City are actually projected to score 1.75 goals against Arsenal, which is
ooh,
like I was
a
quite
lot.
surprised about that. And and Liverpool are obviously 2.7 against Bournemouth. You'd expect that, but 1.75 against Arsenal, who are the best defense in the league. I'd say probably by quite a distance. I'm not obviously there'll be the kind of Odegaard factor in there as well. So yeah, so I mean, like it's something that we've kind of thought of, but it's also something that the kind of the markets and the bookies are kind of thinking as well. Is that I mean, a lot of that pricing will be Haaland's form as well.
Yeah,
So they'll be taking into consideration Haaland's form, no Odegaard. I mean, if you were to see the projected goals in that game week 1, I mean, I guarantee it'd be like 1.3 or 1.25 or something like that. But I think with the way the situation has kind of, with the kind of turn of events in the first 4 game weeks, it's at 1.75 and it's interesting.
yeah. I think that is the one thing with looking at betting odds is that you have to take into account the fact that they are the odds because of the market. It's not just based on stats, but still, it's
Yeah.
very interesting to see that. Yeah, according to
I mean,
the
they're influenced by the markets. Like, it's not purely based on that, but
sorry,
yeah,
yeah.
I mean, that will be like so. The kind of the people who are betting will be pushing those odds a little bit up.
But yes, the fact that according to and by the way, if you don't know Rob T FPL at Rob T FPL, these graphics each week are fantastic.
Yeah,
And yeah, clean sheet percentage for Arsenal 17%.
yeah,
I mean, for the best defense, we know the stats about how good they are away from home. It's interesting. I
yeah.
think yeah, it's tough one. It's a tough one. I'm
It's a
going
tough
to
one
go
to
with
call
Salah as
because
well, but it's not a given. He'll
it's
be
not a
better.
given. I mean, you wouldn't be surprised at all if Haaland outscored Salah. Like, you wouldn't
No.
blink. But yeah, I mean, like that's a game that I could probably, very easily finish 0-0, Man
Yeah,
City, Arsenal.
yeah, for sure. Okay, that is going to do it for this one. Thank you very much, Abdul. Guys, if you do
Yeah.
want to see what Abdul eventually does with his team, obviously João Pedro news dependent, then check out his final team reveal close to the deadline on Fantasy Football Hub. If you haven't signed up yet, it's still an amazing deal. You've got to get it done now. Last push from me. After the next international break, don't worry, I'm not gonna be pushing it as much. We'll just do the videos like normal, but this is the best time. It does help you. I look at it every single week, at the very least, to give me some sort of idea of what I could potentially do with my team. And then there's all the data, there's all the team reveals, all the articles, all the stats, etc., that you could possibly want to help you make the right decision, or at least the most informed decision, I suppose. I mean, because I thought we made pretty good decisions last week, but didn't really
We
work
did, we
out.
did, but that's what they say, isn't it? It's good decisions and bad outcomes.
Exactly. Okay, let's hope next week for some good outcomes. I think we deserve it. Guys,
Yes.
good luck. Good outcomes for you as well, and we will catch you on the next one.
Thanks, guys.